Especially ikikuja in which the government in aid choose to such a to kuje kwa polia. For us, yes, unaweza sema as of now, but just like my comrade Lavani said, it doesn't registered, but ni party ambazo tunataka sisi wenyewe tu regime with the old guard. Yes, hatutaki kumix completely, hapana. We want to stay clean and as fresh as we can as possible.
So ukisema wazee, do you mean when you are at such an age ama hata wale vijana wenye wamekuwa kwa system na wako feel bado?
As of now, inafaa tukue tunajua Gen Z does not necessarily mean ati ni the generation ilizaliwa juzi. Gen Z is the spirit in you, the spirit ya change, the spirit of revolution. Hiyo ndo spirit yenye inatuongoza sisi wenyewe, unaona. Now we may have somebody who is 60 years but akona hiyo vision and reason the way we are reasoning. That is somebody that we would want to work with. Lavani and any good people who can we are looking up to. Na imanishi ya kwamba huku nje hatuna watu. People who can actually lead us to the ending of the economy. People who can do it. Vibrant people. New ideas. Nataka change. You wakaamua and powers. Change. To answer your question, we cannot trust this regime simply that, and to make matters worse, wanatupiga tear gas mpaka kwa huko kwa sababu ile uchungu yenye anafeel yeye mwenyewe. Akakuja hapa hivi, at least voice yake ikuwe hard kwa sababu wanapigania haki ya watoto wao. Things that we do not want. Sisi tukiamua kwamba we want to sit there, sisi wenyewe ndio
listen. No any other option than to fight for ourselves. This is mine. Authority. That what we gave you, that is what we are coming for. And we are power we gave you through a legal process. There is in court by that we were seeking for the impeachment deputy, but it was revised and his deputy, because they are both want to impeach the entire presidency, and that is still there in court. I think the hearing is coming on in September. It was supposed to be done last month, but it is taken December. So the process still continues, and we're not going to stop.
Itaendelea.
Yes.
Wacha nikuje kwako Lavani. I understand mko na groups kadhaa zenye mna kukuja pamoja, planning for demos and everything. But wengi wamekuwa complain labda mna engage sana mayouth wa Nairobi, groups zenye mko nazo, majinzi wako Homa Bay, majinzi wako Kilifi, majinzi wako Nyeri, that pia mnawafikia na pia wana sing the same song yenye pia mnaimba hapa Nairobi?
Thank you Majibu. Kile naweza sema ni kwamba we are not discriminating anybody, and we do understand that the movement has to go to mashinani, kwamba hadi mama aliyekeroka ama kijana mwenye yako Mtwapa ama tuseme Wajia ajue kwamba nchi inahitaji mageuzi. Na shida ambazo tunazipitia kama vijana au kama taifa sasa si shida tu za jiji la Nairobi, ni shida ambazo zinapitiwa na watu wote kwenye taifa nzima la Kenya. Na kwa hivyo wakati tunapokuja na chama, hatuji na chama tu ambacho pia kitakuwa tu ni cha vijana peke yao au watu wenye umri mdogo, bali itakuwa ni kuzingatia taifa nzima kwa ujumla, kwa sababu mageuzi na mabadiliko ya kimsingi, tunazungumzia mambo ya mageuzi katika idara ya polisi, usalama, uchumi wetu umedorora, ukitazama madeni yanakopwa, lakini wale walioko kwenda juu. Mikakati ambayo imewekwa ni kwamba kutakuwa na representative ama wale regional representative ambao watakuwa kuna wale ambao kama Kimilili. Kwa hivyo kila mtu kule mashi, wengi wetu ni kuja Nairobi.
So bado mko na representatives
hili au kiunda kitakuwa kinazingatia mambo kama haya, hakuna takayacho.
Aya, James alikuwa anataka kuongelea the two amendments on this whole process ya the Gen Z revolution. Labda if you can touch on hiyo pia.
Acha tu niende na moja, but I could still do both.
Briefly tunapo niko na 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. So acha niende na moja. Kuna sheria fulani inasema ina restrict filming na photography. We need to revise that. How it of voters that because pale 2027 we will be streaming live on TikTok, on all polling stations. We must do it, and we will do it. We shall do it with the people, and we must change that law, because if sio kura zinapangwa kuibiwa, why is it that they are so interested in chasing us out of the polling stations just after we have voted? What business, what negotiation are you doing at the polling station? Sasa nyinyi mcook numbers, mforce the party representatives who assign cooked up numbers, alafu mkuje mtulete. Hiyo uchaguzi before tuikatae, tunafaa kuwa involved in the entire process, because wizi ya kura inaanza polling station. So I'm submitting to the country that we need to change the law on polling stations, and we need to film in those polling stations, and we need to confirm that every that these are the amount of votes that candidate A, candidate B and candidate C has gotten from this polling station. Collate those results, we will get a tally for ourselves in that constituency, in that county and nationwide.
Hiyo time kidogo imebaki. Acha nipatie ulihusiana kwanza. Your message to the leaders, say the current political class, alafu wa mwisho atanifungia na the message to the Gen Zs on your to watch say.
The message to our current political class is, please, if you people, you have kids, feel the pain that our parents are feeling. If you people, you still have that humanity in you, kindly see the struggle our parents are going through. Are going through. See the time they always wake up to go out there and work hard to give their kids the best, but you end up misusing the tax. You end up misusing the money they expect you kulipa nayo hosi, kulipa nayo shule. Please nawaomba, just have that humanity imebaki ndani yako, or else this inamwagika, it will end up on you.
Sasa utawaambia nini?
The fight goes on. Kwanza usikubali kujia do kidogo. Ana ID pia uchukue ID. And it's a revolution and we have to revolve our country. Must the people shall.
Na kuna Mei. Hiyo tunakafunga kutoka ground maze. Tumefungiwa on Pang na starter pia streaming on our Facebook. Kahiro and Linda waendelee na kubonga na majenzi mazee, wasemi wanasemaje on leo na pia strategy on an employee moving forward. Naitwa Majibu.
Asante sana Majibu. Najua you normally say when Majibu una swali. But well, the conversation continues right here in studio, and we continue to commemorate June 25th. And today we have seen so many things has happened today, so many incidences, including what just got into our newsrooms, including the death of security guard of the Steamer Plaza. That's Kenya Power, security guard from Kenya Power, who was shot dead during the protest. That's just a statement from Kenya Power that one of their security guards, who's called Fred Wamale Wanyonyi, security guard stationed at Steamer Plaza headquarters, was fatally shot at the entrance of the building at 4:30 p.m. this evening during the ongoing protest. So a lot has happened during the day, and we'll be keeping a keen eye on what continues to happen even as the night continues. I'm still here with my panel, and let me get to you, Nyambura. You were talking all the way from Kipipiri, yeah? Sijua nasemanga aje kuhusu cash crop yenyu ni you're entrepreneurial people. But now, how is this protest even affecting what's happening in Nyandarua County? Because we know even as the protests continue, many businesses have not even worked today. How has this even affected you as a person, even as you're protesting?
Okay, thank you, Linda. And a point of correction, I'm not from Kipipiri.
Nyandarua.
Yeah, I come from, Kipipiri is a different constituency. I come from Olkalau constituency.
Okay. Nasikia
Yeah,
mnaita okay.
Ndio hiyo. Nasikia leo wamefungulia maabusu.
That is what they have done.
Yeah. Because polisi ndio waliwachokoza.
Na uko na hizi ma-updates.
Yeah. Zinanikutia. I'm getting right hand information because of course I'm working with the team on ground. So kwetu, just like any other place countrywide,
yes,
we have been affected by today's protest business wise. Lakini sasa Linda, what is the need ya tufungue biashara from Monday to Sunday and hakuna ile profit yenye watu wana make from those businesses because of high taxation, and then watu wanaangalia wanaona zile pesa zenye tunakuwa taxed zinatumika vibaya, ndio hizo zinapelekwa church 20 million zinapewa grassroots leaders. So what is the point ya kufungua biashara whole week when you're getting nothing? I know most of my friends including me when wamefunga biashara. Personally I'm an entrepreneur who has been trying hoping from one business to the other, trying to make ends meet. So today we decided as Gen Z, of course we have been supported by millennials, tutokea kwa streets because hata kama tuko kwa shimo hatutaishi kukua kwa hiyo shimo. we must do something about it. Because today we are making losses in businesses. Are we going to continue making losses, or what are we doing about it? What is the aim of this maandamano? And just like what we were discussing here during the short break, our main aim as Gen Z, it's the high time watu waache kuview Gen Z ni kama wao kazi yao ni mtandao, kutokea kwa streets and then wanarudi home. Wananunua woga wanarudi home. No, our aim as Gen Z right now, and the reason as to why we are saying we are not leaderless, and we are not partyless. We have decided, let us join those parties. Personally, I'm a proud member of DCP. Let us join those parties. Kama ni aim yetu kama Gen Z ni to make sure most of the leaders wenye watachaguliwa 2027.
But there are dangers as well when it comes to joining the parties. Like we recently saw the reaction that Gen Z's showed towards Kasmuel, who joined ODM, others joining DCP, others joining even the current regime. Are there dangers? Do you feel like this will be a problem in the near future? Perhaps I can ask you that, Sophie. Are you in any political party, perhaps?
Well, no. I am part of the revolutionary Gen Z movement. We are a movement and we are not a political party as yet. Allow me first of all to kind of respond to the question that you asked her earlier about the shutdown.
Yes.
Well, I'm happy. We have given Kenyans a holiday in the entire country. Na mimi sio CS, mimi sio kwa Ministry of Interior, lakini Kenyans leo wameenjoy holiday na wakikambaya kwanza watakuwa hadi na long weekend. Kata sio vas. Raila has never brought any protest to the central business district of Kenya. But Gen Z's protests zetu zimekuwa the central business district of Kenya, and it's a total shutdown. Hakuna mtu ameuza. That way, the business community will join us because they're making losses day and night. And after this finance bill yenye ishapita, the biggest person who is on the losing end is the business person, the entrepreneur, the owners of companies. Because in fact, do you know the compensation tax for that companies are waived of imerudishwa? So low income earners are supposed to pay that tax. Nani anakulipia hiyo tax? Ni the owner of the business. So akifunga biashara courtesy of our protest, it is to their benefit. Going to the question that you've asked me about me joining a political party or
the repercussions that
of that, I believe that comes down to what you believe in as a person and what ideologies you're willing to support. In the case of Morara and Kasmuel, I feel like had they consulted the people who actually believed in them, the people who believed in them would have been kinder to what they have done. But they just made that decision. Okay, leo Raila ako kwa gava, imetusaidia nini sisi? So Kasmuel kwenda kumjoin, imetusaidia nini sisi? Those are the questions we're asking ourselves. But we're not hindered from creating our own political parties as Gen Zs. So that is something we're looking into. Yeah.
And looking at the losses and the entrepreneurship spirit that has really grown within the Gen Zs as well, how do you think best can this protest work, especially without this property destruction, without feeling like the rights of other people have been infringed? Do you feel there is a better setup for that?
There was before dialogue. But right now, we are dealing with mtu mwenye masikio yake imejaa nta, hasikii la mwadhini wala la mteka maji, hasikii chochote. This is the only way he will learn. And I like the fact that what we are doing is also giving him a bad image to the international communities. In fact, I will look into that camera and tell the international communities to stop giving Kenya any funding. Kenya needs to stop being given any donor funding because that money is not helping anybody. Kenya should be blacklisted from getting donor funding. Hiyo pesa inaenda kwa mfuko ya watu. Stop giving Kenya money.
So even with the developments, looking at the budgets, the 2025-2026 budget, allow me to just throw into you before I move on to Andrew. What are your thoughts around it? Because I know the finance bill already passed, which is the measures, the raising measures to fund the budget itself. Are there concerns within then that also you are agitating today?
Yes, absolutely. Because Linda, for me as a person, my major concern is why is the security department of Kenya the biggest beneficiary of this current budget? Leo, tear gas, bullets, Mariamu, Amari.
Mariamu ni?
Hizi gari za polisi. Unajua zile gari za military. Water cannons. Like unaweza dhania tuko Iran ama tuko Israel. So for me, my major concern is why the health sector, why the education center, why the agriculture sector, why the infrastructure sector is not getting 475 billion. What can we do with 475 billion? I will answer you. We will have a school feeding programs. 8 universities in Kenya will be rid of their pending bills. Kenya will have free education, free healthcare. Hiyo kitu wanaita universal healthcare. Hiyo inaweza kuwa achieved na hiyo 475 billion. So I have a big issue with the budget. Lakini, I feel like I'm being sadistic saying this, but I'm kind of happy the finance bill has passed. Then maybe Kenyans will wake up. They will realize that this government is manufacturing poverty so that they can buy us for the cheapest amount of money possible. So once we are poor enough, maybe we will all be in the street.
And you are an aspiring
MCA, yes.
MCA as well,
Yes.
in Thika.
Yes.
What are those things that you think this government, you will do, that this government has not been able to? Because we have seen this government is really cash crunched. But from your own perspective, what do you think are the fresh ideas that you think should be really put in place?
For starters, and in a nutshell, would be to reduce our expenditure, including the salaries that we will take home as legislators. For starters, that would go a long way. And the second thing, just implement the Constitution. It's your rocket science. The Constitution has articulated how a dignified Kenyan should live. If we can only just implement that, we're perfect.
Well said, Sophie. Let me come to you, Andrew. And when you look at this particular constitution that Sophie is talking about, do you feel like the government is following it to the letter?
Leave alone following to the letter,
Yes.
just following it. That's not happening. Because I honestly have issues with almost everything that this government does. Because they're here out asking us, oh, you should be peaceful, you should follow the constitution, you should do mandamana between this time and that time because that's what the constitution says. But for them, they actually do the opposite of what the constitution says. For example, there's so many judicial orders that have been given to this government, but they still go ahead and do what they want. Like, there's a constitution to follow. There's a rule of law that you're supposed to follow.
But even with this rule of law, there is rule of law. We are governed by the rule of law. But then what happens when it comes to implementation?
I think, so mostly the executive is normally the implementer of most of the policies.
Yeah.
But then, constitution has, let's say, judiciary, different arms have different implementation they have to do. So our biggest concern right now is the executive. Like, it has really, really failed us. For example, when they say that they're trying to empower, grassroots agents and all that, the real empowerment we as young people we want to see is to know that that small boy in Samburu, that small boy in Laikipia, they're not going to school under a tree. Why are they going to school under a tree 62, 63 years later since we got independence? Like, we're in the 21st century. Why is someone learning under a tree?
Yeah.
Why is that one person in Mandera cannot get water until after 5 days, after 3 days? Why is it that that person in Lamu somewhere, they have to be relocating every time it rains? every time they cannot go to school, school have to be shut because the government has not, hawajatengeneza njia and all that. That's the real empowerment we want to see. Not this one for bribing leaders so that they can go and sing the song the government wants. The constitution is very easy to implement.
Amesema si rocket science, by the way.
Si rocket science. Sheria inasema watu wanataka kuandamana peacefully, wapatie security waandamane. Sheria inasema msitume guns. Kazi yenu kama polisi sio kucollaborate na goons, mnawapea silaha ama mnawapea ulinzi waende wakaharibu vitu. Sheria inasema kama mtu akishikwa anafaa apelekwe kotini, ambiwa kwa nini ameshikwa, ashtakiwe nini, sheria ifuate hivyo. Si mnashika mtu few days later unasikia eti alijigongesha kwa ukuta. It's not that hard. I don't know. I just feel like the political class sees us as a threat, and that's why they only think about themselves. For example, when it comes to passing the laws in parliament, we're actually talking about it here. Anything that favors them, skumbili, hata si skumbili, imeletolewa asubuhi, saa 4 imeshapita. Lakini kitu ambao inaguza mwananchi, utasikia hatuna quorum, sijui watu wameenda Malaysia, sijui watu wameenda China. Benchmarking. And I wonder what benchmarking they got to do there. Like, you go to benchmark, you go with a whole group of 25 people, mnapata allowance nini, mkirudi Kenya, mnarudi kwa ofisi mnakaa tu hivi, hakuna kitu mna implement. Like, we really want to see leaders who can actually think. If you use our taxpayers' money to go abroad to benchmark or to go wherever you go to benchmark, can you come back and implement those ideas?
Yeah. Okay, Nyambura, how is the relationship between nyinyi Gen Z uko mashinani all-K na leaders wenyu? Gen Z na leaders wenyu. Is there friction? Is there a way you work together? Briefly though.
Well, I think what the Gen Z have done has earned some respect. The reason as to why I'm saying that is because wale leaders wenye wako huko kwetu na Gen Z sasa, somebody is actually approaching the Gen Z, amuulize which way are we going to take?
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, who is going to be the leader, or what should I do to have a good relation with you?
How can I help you guys? How can I include you kwa leadership yangu? So the reason as to why we are saying the protest has achieved us something is because even the people who now, the aspirants now, they want to involve youths in their leadership. Because they know if you're not going to do that, definitely they are not going to support you. And let me go back to the part of constitution. I feel like the current regime is following a bit of the constitution where it is favoring them. But where it talks about protection, what Albert has said, where it talks about rights za mfungwa, hiyo nayo ni kitu hawafuati. So they are choosing when and how to apply the laws in the constitution.
Selective memory.
Yeah, that's what they are doing. So and again about the question on businesses, like sasa leo tuseme tu ukweli, if only the president listened to us, ambie tu polisi, how Gen Zs say they have highlighted what they want to do, watupe tu security. I was there in the morning and I saw mpaka sasa wengine wetu tulikuwa tuna guide watu tusipitie hapa ndio tusiharibu hii. Let's stick to our lanes, let's march, let's sing. So sisi hakuna any property tulikuwa tuna destroy in the morning. There is no property that was destroyed in the morning. The properties, the theft ya Quickmart supermarket tumeona iki happen saa hii jioni wakati goons wamemwagwa town.
Okay.
So if only they gave us protection, watu allow we commemorate our lost soldiers. If only they allowed us to do the candle lighting, I think even the businesses cannot be affected. But the reason as to why biashara zinakuwa affected na wale watu wenye wameweka biashara wanaenda loss is because it is the government who wants to paint us, the Gen Zs. They want to paint
and
us
it's
a
not
bad picture.
the movement has been infiltrated by
by
goons.
goons.
Well, hold our thoughts. We'll continue with that conversation because we still want to understand, was it only Gen Z on the streets? Were the goons part of the Gen Z, or they're just a different group altogether to disrupt this? Well, the conversation continues even on the other side, because I know Kagina has another team on the other side. Kagina, take it over.
Indeed, Linda, the most recent update is that the High Court has issued conservatory orders requiring that the Communication Authority of Kenya undoes all the doings they did of shutting down various media houses, K24 included. And we are hoping that will be soon on air if we are not yet there. Kwa sasa, wale ambao walikuwa wanafuatilia conversation on our various social media platforms, thank you so much, and we continue right here from where we left. And the conversation we were mentioning right before we proceeded to Majibu and Linda is how partyless and leaderless is shaping the movement of Gen Z. I'll start with Alam. Can we actually get to where we want without a leader? We've seen the progress so far, but can we actually get to substantive movements or solutions without a leader?
Thank you. One thing we must be aware of and should be known out there is that it was a necessity not to have leaders last year, so that we organized it organically the way we did, and the success we had was just based on the fact that we were not having leaders. But going forward with the dreams and aspirations of what we want to achieve, we must organize ourselves. We must organize ourselves because we want to have the highest number of young people in parliament comes 2027. So we must organize ourselves. We must organize ourselves so that we remove William Ruto. That organization must come through getting people. I don't want to call them leaders, but people responsible for those organizations. So indeed, it is a necessity that we organize ourselves under umbrellas. And as you can see here, we are not rudderless like some politicians think we are. We are really organizing. And if they think we are rudderless, they will again lament that it got them by a shock that we got into parliament. This time, not through the fence, but by being sworn in as members of parliament, as legislatures.
And there's something interesting that Okayo mentioned earlier. He said that in the country we have at least over 90 political parties already registered. He says they are all clueless and do not know what they are doing. Does that mean then if there has to be a way out, then there has to be new political parties?
Not really, but also there is no direct answer to that question. What we are aware of right now is that the political parties which have so far been formed in this country have acted as ways to continue oppression. They have acted in a system that try or tends to bring ethnic balkanization. You find party which is dominant in one region of the country and another party dominant in the other region. So this is not the way for the young people. The young people needs a voice, a movement that can sweep all over the country, not one corner of the country. And by the way, let me tell you something, why the political class are panicking. We have just entered into their game. This is their game. They designed it in a way that favors them. But we have entered into it, and we have the numbers. That is what they fear most. Right now, his numbers are dwindling. They are something less than 1.5 million. If you ask Ruto what is his numbers, the way they want to balkanize their numbers ethnically, Ruto has less than 2 million numbers. If you ask Gachagua what are the numbers you are bringing, he has less than 3 million numbers. If you ask Alonso, less than 800,000 numbers. But if you ask me, as a Gen Z, what numbers are you bringing on the table? I have 15 million strong. So our numbers is great, and that is what they are panicking of.
All right, something interesting has been mentioned by Alam here. He's talked about, the former deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua. It is difficult not to ask the question of, we've seen him, try and advocate for the rights of Gen Zs. No, that this is after last year, because last year he was on the other side. Now we've seen him get out of government, now defend Gen Z, speak about police brutality time and again, ask for the protests to be peaceful. Is he joining your team? Are you together now?
So first of all, I said we have to be in a political party, because this is not just a nature of politics in Kenya, but all over the world. For you to have a strong and sustainable government, you have to align yourself with the party or make major coalitions. As of now, I cannot say that GNZs, we have a political party, nor unless we align with those parties that we think are aligning to our system of dreams, maybe. Maybe I can add a little Swahili in this. I can say, for example, today, if we are to go for the by-election, we are going to have independent candidates who shall be thinking on their own, who shall at any moment take their own decision, either bad or good. But sometimes political parties restrains or keep their members in touch to the agenda they have. I will give a good example. Today, we do not need to be in a political party as sycophants. We need to upgrade our discipline while in political parties, because it does not mean that when you are in this political party, you are a sycophant of that political party. Once you are elected by the people, you can have different opinion to that of your political leader. Maybe today we can see it with, for example, in my county, Nyandarua, I can see Medho and Wanjiko Mohia and almost the 25 MCAs are rejecting or are refusing to a sideline with what the president is saying, but they were elected using the UDA ticket. I think as a leader, have a party, but still do not sell your mind to that party. Have independent mind while in that party. That is how we can fight for ourselves. For example, maybe as I conclude my statement of the party issues, if today we don't have a party and we are seeking for a government, we are going to be outshined again. We are going to be outshined again. So let us make our party and make a coalition with other parties without fear. I think there is one rule in politics that says an enemy of my enemy is my friend. We cannot diminish the people who are not supporting William Samoei Ruto and they have political party. We have been seeing them doing rallies and people flock. They buy their idea, they buy their narrative. We cannot claim today that even almost half of those GNZs are the one who attend their meetings, because the agenda is one. In fact, the agenda of all this nation is to send William Ruto home. That is why they attend where Gachagua goes, they attend where Kalonzo goes, they attend where Natembeya goes and everyone. Why do they go there? Because they feel these people are getting our agenda, sending William Ruto home. So if we do not come with our party, let us make sure that we align ourselves to parties that subscribe to our agenda.
And let me ask two questions. Number one, we have seen, not to mention their names, but a number of Gen Zs, quote unquote, who've moved and done what you've said, join an umbrella of a party.
Yeah.
But what they've ended up being is being branded as sellouts.
For example, maybe I know you are referring to two people who, of course, we know, who have aligned to a party and they were members of GNZ. And it has been explained here by someone, I don't know who said, they went to a party which went to bed with the government. Of course, that party is not aligning with the agenda that we have. The first agenda we have today, which was told by you, we have confined all those agendas to one thing: Ruto must go home. So any person who want Ruto to go home without first dealing with our own issues, let us first get that agenda. Now let us come to the party. I've told you, once you are elected as a leader, no one can force you to subscribe to their opinion. You will take your own opinion and say no. Like I've told you, for example, Medho and Wanjiko Moya from my county, they say no, president, we cannot subscribe to you while abducting people. We cannot support you while you are killing GNZs. We cannot support you while you are doing this and this. So that is my plea to my fellow youths. If you have not made a party to make a coalition with people with same mind, just make sure you've subscribed yourself to a party which aligns to your agenda.
All right, and Okayo, I know earlier you had disagreed on the issue of moving as a party as early as now, but do you think it is actually achievable to make this change without a party?
Yes, absolutely. It's very achievable. You see, when I was growing up, people used to tell me that Arsene Wenger is a master of plans. And Arsenal used to succeed because of him. Arsenal used to study how players in the other team play. And if they play high balls, they would play low balls. If they play low balls, they would play high balls. What do I mean? If we want to actually beat them, we should not play it like they're doing it. That is the problem. We are getting to their game, and we want to deceive ourselves that we know it better than them. They have played it like this. If we get into that system and play it exactly the way they are playing it, they will beat us in that game. Now we have to find a different way of playing it. And that's why we are disrupting the status quo. That's why we are doing things differently. That is why Raila Odinga does not have the monopoly of calling for protests and calling for holidays. Gen Zs have called for a holiday today on 25th. And it has happened. In short, we are clearing everything. We are clearing the pipe. We are clearing the old political system. And we are starting anew. Because in any case, we want a better Kenya. We want a new Kenya. And you can't expect to be using old tactics, the tactics you've been using before, and expect a different result. You can't use the same tactics and expect different results.
Because then my question would be, if the clarion call is, as you're putting it, Ruto must go, what happens then when he goes? Are we not risking coming to a point where, say it's Okayo or Alam, we're saying Okayo must go, Alam must go, if we're not going by certain principles?
As I said, most of the problems we have are a problem of goodwill. We do not have goodwill. It only requires goodwill. Kenya has money. Kenya has money. And Kenyans are contributing willingly and graciously. And Kenyans are good people. Kenyans are being taxed. And taxes have been increasing up until 2024 that they said, no way, you're not going to increase taxes again. And Kenyans are hardworking. But the problem is that Kenyans who are hardworking don't get value for their money. They don't get value for their effort. They don't get value for their time. And that's why people are crying. So what we are saying is that if we get someone who has goodwill for the people of Kenya, and their sole goal is to ensure that things run constitutionally, we have all the laws you mentioned in this world, but they are not applied accordingly. If we have someone with goodwill, someone who comes and says that, look, we have to make things work by any means necessary. Because if it is about means, we have the means as a country. We have money, we have resources, we have people, we have hardworking people, we have learned people, we have good people in Kenya. The problem is goodwill. We don't have goodwill. If we get that in an individual, I'm telling you, we don't even need 30 years.
Yes, John, I can see you.
Yeah, something small.
You want to retaliate?
I want to reiterate. Now, the reason as to why we were having the maandamano today, being leaderless, we still wanted to have a leader after Ruto goes home. being leaderless. We have done it leaderlessly, looking for another leader who does things against how Ruto does it. So the aim is looking for a good leader. But we've not formulated ourselves as a GNZ, not unless we lie to one another on a national television, that we formulated our own party, like we've made steps to look for that.
What is this obsession with party?
For that particular leader. We do not want to send Ruto home. Then we come to a scenario of another person taking that position without subscribing to what we want. And that's where we are heading. Today we might have that leader whom all of us have not chosen, but do not have otherwise other than doing what we want. Only if we have a party or a coalition that puts that government on. We don't want to be in a situation where we have a president who got there just by chance. We want someone that we will tell him, we've put you there as our president to implement this and this and this. But if we continue like this, assuming, God forbid, it did not happen, but we wanted it to happen, Ruto was home today, we will have gone and sworn in our own president. We will have gone in and sworn our own.
Did you have one in mind, or whoever would have been on the front line?
Maybe we will have thought, like they are saying, of one. But we will not have the mandate. We will not have the key elements of putting that president who we aligned there to subscribe to what we are telling him. Because kesho akikataa kutusikia tena tungepanga maandamano ingi. Na sisi hatutaki kupanga maandamano kila siku. Tunataka sasa tuweke president mwenyewe, tunamwambia wewe, si unajua vile tumefanya? Si unajua hii safari yote yenye tumeenda? Si wewe unajua shida yetu ni tunataka president mwenye anatusikiza? Si wewe unajua tunataka president mwenye ana implement katiba? Si tunataka president mwenye aendi kutumia communication authority as his tool to destabilize communication in the country? Si tunataka president mwenye, you get what I'm saying? So we have to formulate ourselves. If not late, early enough. And if not so, let us look for those parties that look like having our same agenda. Like I'm saying, anyone today with a political party that fights William Ruto, that is our friend. He is helping us achieve our goal. And we do not have any need to fight against them again. What do we need? To go to their parties if we don't have ours, but with sober mind. Like I've told you, you can be in a party, but still not subscribe to what they perceive or what you perceive as wrong in the party.
Right. Allow me to engage on the issue of parties. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Does that apply here?
You know, it is just, I think I will not be fair to my brother here because from his language of constructing his statements, he has not been getting these Gen Z briefings a lot, and he appears not to understand the real reason why we are on the street. Actually, we don't have a problem with Ruto. We have a problem with a system that has been put there over the years. The system that has ensured that the poor person remains poor in Kenya despite the fact that there are resources. A system that has been defined that in order to be elected in Kenya, you must either be horse 1 or horse 2. If you are horse 3, wewe unaitwa punda. That is the system we are fighting. So when you say an enemy of my enemy is my friend, we must all be conscious as young people that we cannot replace William Ruto with another William Ruto. Not in the name, not in the form, but in the deeds. We must be very clear on that as young people. And that is why we must stop on the bickering of the politicians, because this is their game, like I earlier mentioned. This is a game that they have designed. Remember, these are brothers. These are people. I want to show you. You see, this is a pyramid shape. The people on top of the pyramid knows themselves because they are very few. At the bottom of the pyramid, we are so many, we don't even have, I can't even access contact ya mtu ako Wajir sahi, because we are at the bottom of the pyramid. But the people on top of the pyramid wanazijua. right now they are, at this time, tunaongea hapa, they are calling themselves. Wanaambia hapa sasa umeona tufanye nini? And they can come to rescue one another if thick comes to thin. These are brothers. These are brothers who have benefited on a wrong system. So we cannot replace William Ruto with William Ruto. That should be very clear on the minds of the young people. And that is why we are doing what we call civic education all over the country right now. Just the other day we were in Nyeri. So that the young people can really understand why we are fighting this war. The young people can really understand why right now in my community we are being told that this war is not ours. And yet, when my mother, right now as I speak here, my grandmother just died and she's lying in the morgue. During the time that she was being taken to hospital, we couldn't find medicine in hospitals. And yet, my community, the leaders in my community are trying to tell me that this war is not mine. When is this war going to be more mine than now? If I cannot find medicine in Rongo, the same way that she was being taken to hospital, we couldn't find medicine in hospitals. And yet, we must also come into realization that we are coming from somewhere. And coming from somewhere means that there is a lot going on in the minds of young people because of what we have been made to believe. Over the years, if you are a young person coming from Migori County like myself, you are told that right now you need to believe that we are in government. And if you have issues with education, just don't talk about it because we are in government.
Are you not?
Let me just get there. So we must know that we are from somewhere.